Mark time. Mark. Forward. Mark. And Mark time. Mark. Forward. Halt. Front. Present. On.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Left. On. Right. Face. Mark time. Mark. Forward. March.
Thank you. Please take your seats. Make yourselves comfortable for the speaking program that we have planned for you this morning. And as you settle in, I'd like to take the time to bring attention to the surveys that are on the table. We are always looking to improve how we are giving our services. So if you could please fill those out at the end of the program, that would be great. And I thank you in advance for your thoughts. My name's Giselle Sterling. I'm the Commissioner for the Mayor's Office of Veterans Services. And I'm here to welcome you to the African American Appreciation Veterans Brunch. And we are here to pause to pay tribute to the contributions of our veterans and their families. But it wouldn't be a brunch if it wasn't for this wonderful food. So I'd like to take a minute to thank Mr. Perry, who just happens to be a Marine Corps veteran as well, for his service. So last year we gathered here just about the same time in the same space and listened to a panel of speakers talk about a wide range of topics on the successes and challenges of our veterans of color. And the feedback that we received was that it was very informative, that there was almost too much information. And the one thing that resonated most with people was when the panelists actually took their time to tell their stories. And it's been said that the best thing that a community can do for their veterans is to listen to their stories without judgment in a safe place. So today we're going to do just that. So this year we've invited our good friend Mayor Eric Hill to facilitate a Veterans Town Hall, where we hold this space to honor the experiences of our veterans as a supportive community. But before we get to those stories, we're balancing the Veterans Town Hall with supportive words from Mayor Walsh and local leaders from Boston Fire, Boston Police, in response to your questions from last year of how we as a city are engaging, advocating, and empowering our veterans and military families of Boston. So my one hope today is that you leave here knowing that there is a strong network surrounding our veterans and military families, and that you understand that you're a part of that network as well. So to Mayor Walsh and our elected officials, thank you so much for making this a part of your lives and supporting our veterans and their families. Before we jump into the agenda, I just want to take a minute to bring up some of the people from the Mayor's Office of Veterans Services, and I ask the staff of OVS just to step up here, just to make yourself recognized. Come on up. They weren't expecting this, sorry guys. So as much as I would love to take all the credit for the work that happens in the office, I would be nowhere with these great, amazing group of people, half of which are veterans or military families themselves. And many people don't know this, but there is a veteran service officer in every city and town in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is special in the way we do that. So I am the VSO for Boston, but I can't do that work without my veteran service officers, assistants, community relations specialists, all here today. So I just wanted to thank you publicly for your work. Please make sure if you have any questions about the main service that we provide, which is Chapter 115, these are the faces that help our veterans every day. Talk to them after the program. They're here to meet you. They're here to know you. So thank you so much, guys. And I'm luckier still to be under strong leadership. Our first speaker I'd like to introduce, and though his appointment to the mayor's cabinet is fairly new, he comes to the table as an experienced organizer with over 20 years of serving children and families of Boston and beyond. And he comes with his own personal connection with the veterans community, which makes me trust his understanding even more. Please welcome the Chief of Health and Human Services for the City of Boston, Marty Martinez.
Thank you, Commissioner Sterling and Veteran Services. Thank you for all the work that you all are doing. We couldn't do what we're doing without your leadership, so thank you so much. Thank you to Major Hill and the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Regiment, Commander Netter and the Carter Post for hosting us here again. Let's hear it for the Post for hosting us in this great space. Of course, our elected officials and our friends, and most importantly, our veterans and families who are here with us today, thank you for giving us an opportunity to be here and to celebrate the work and the accomplishments that you all have made. You know, I am on the job, I think it's been 7 weeks, and so hopefully I still look fresh and energized because it's only been 7 weeks. But I'm excited about the work that I'm here to do, to lead Health and Human Services under Mayor Walsh's leadership, and to do the work what I see the work. The work to me, which includes the Veterans Commission of Health and Human Services, is to level the playing field. It's to make sure that all people have the resources they need, not just to survive, but to thrive in our city. That's the work that we want to do in this cabinet. It's the work that the Veterans Commission does, and it's the work that I'm trying to do as your Chief of Health and Human Services. And so I'm proud to be in that role. Commissioner Sterling mentioned my background or connection of my experience mostly working with youth and families, but my connection to the veterans community really is as a young person. Growing up, I'm a child of a veteran, my brother's a veteran, my uncles are veterans, my mother was an auxiliary member of a post for many years, and my involvement was really key for one main reason. My mother's younger brother was killed in Vietnam. And he was killed in Vietnam, and what it did to her was dedicate her life to the work of veterans and their families. And it taught us to be dedicated to our lives, to the work of veterans and their families. So I've gotten that from a little kid up, that what we can do is do more to not only thank our veterans, but to do more than just thank them, give them the opportunities to achieve what they need to achieve for their families, and give them the resources to be successful. So that's the experience I bring with me, and that's what I'll bring with me every day to City Hall, and Commissioner Sterling and her team will make sure that I don't forget those experiences as we try to do the work that we do together. I'm happy to be here, and I don't need to tell you about the work of the Walsh administration and the work that he's done to prioritize the issues of the community and the issues that we care so deeply about. I know you know well there's a deep commitment in this term to make sure that we're bold in the work we want to do in the community. The mayor would have it no other way, and that's the call that I'm trying to answer on behalf of the work that we're trying to do. So without further ado, let me bring up our fearless mayor, Mayor Marty Walsh.
Thank you very much, Chief Martinez, and thank you, Marty, for the work you're doing. You're doing incredible work. As Commissioner Sterling said, the Chief's been on the job for 7 weeks, and he's done an incredible job of working through the different departments. And that's the biggest cabinet that we have in city government. So thank you for your great work. To Major Hill, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for your service to our city. And you might, not everyone in the room might remember him or know this, but he was an ONS coordinator back in the day, and that's when I first met him. I was a state representative, and he was a young ONS guy. I was a young state representative. We didn't know what we were doing, but we did it. So I wanted to, you've come a long way, so thank you, Major. I appreciate that. The 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Regiment, thank you very much. I know that you were here today, but you protect me. Last time I was in the place, you protected me, so I appreciate that. I want to thank you as well for the great work you guys do down there. Commander Netter, thank you in the post. You know, when we're out talking about anything in the city, veterans issues or other things, this post does some incredible work. Not everyone in the city knows that. I think you're starting to see that because every year I come to this event, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And I want to thank the members of this post for doing such a great job for our veterans, for our community, for this neighborhood. So thank you, Post, for all you do. I want to thank Congressman Mike Capuano in his office for what he does for our veterans in our city and our state. Commissioner Sterling, what can I say about Commissioner Sterling and her office? They're incredible people. They do incredible work. You'll see shirts around the Operation Thank a Vet. They started this going around thanking veterans around the city of Boston. No strings attached, just knocking on doors, thanking people, providing and letting people know what the services are available for them. Working on with Commissioner Finn and Commissioner Evans and Chief Gross on trying to recruit veterans of color to take the tests to become police officers and firefighters, and working in different areas, creating opportunities, opening doors. So I want to thank you, Commissioner, and your entire staff who do an incredible job. We're going to hear from Commissioner Finn and Chief Gross in a few minutes, but I want to thank them both for their leadership in this city, and thank you for what you do every day. They'll talk more about them in a little bit. But there's other guests here, and I have to introduce them because the elected officials that I'm going to introduce and some other folks that are appointed officials, they all work extremely hard for our veterans and for our community. So I just want to bear with me for a minute as I introduce a few people. I want to start with City Councilor Ayanna Presley's here. Thank you, Councilor Presley, who's here with us today. State Representative Nick Collins is here. Thank you, Representative Collins, for being here with us. From the fire department, one of the things Joe Finn did as soon as when he got in there, as appointed as the commissioner a few years ago, he looked around and said, well, we need to really do more about outreach to the community, and we need to let people know who we are as a fire department, because before the fire department was kind of in sheltered mode, and he brought on Juan Sanchez to be the Chief Diversity Officer. I want to thank Juan, who ran some programs this summer, did some incredible things for the fire department. Thank you, Juan. Police department, also first time I think in the history of the police department, I was talking to Chief Gross about it, brought on a Chief Diversity Officer, Michael Gaskins, who's doing an incredible job. So Michael, thank you. And I would just advise anyone in the room, if you have questions about the police or fire department, go talk to those two guys. And you can talk to these two guys too, but go talk to those two guys about opportunities, about how do we do more, because they're always willing to listen and learn, and how do we do more. So thank you. We have City Councilor Eddie Flynn with us today. Thank you, Councilor Flynn. We have Senator Bill Owens with us. Thank you, Senator. We have City Councilor Michelle Wu with us. Thank you, Councilor. We have Deputy Robert Santiago with us. Thank you, Deputy. We have State Representative Russell Holmes, I think, is with us. I see his office here. Thank you, Representative. And the last person I have to introduce is the person who's your representative here, and who works, he worked as an intern in my office. He worked as an aide in my office, intern in college, aide after he graduated college. Went on to have an incredible public service career, and then he ran for state representative, and he's been the representative here for about 4.5 years now. He's been an incredible advocate for veterans, and that's Danny Cullinane. So, and there might be other people, we'll get them later, and I apologize. So, we're honoring Black History Month, obviously, in Boston and Massachusetts and the country, and this year's theme is celebrating my past, my present, and my future. This theme speaks to the timeline of service in this room. Whether you served in World War II, Korea, the War on Terror, you all share remarkable qualities, and that quality is bravery, self-sacrifice, and commitment to our country's safety. All this month, we've been celebrating the many contributions of African Americans to all different facets of American life. That includes military service going back centuries. Groups like the 54th Massachusetts Regiment believe that in the promise and value of America, even while facing discrimination at home. We'll never forget their sacrifices or take those sacrifices for granted. In these times, we still are divided in our country. And in the face of the threat of our nation, the city of Boston is going to continue to support people and support you no matter what. We're going to work to make sure we ensure smooth transition back to civilian life to our veterans. We're going to make sure that no veteran is ever left on the streets of our city. We help veterans and their families get connected to services, and we will never miss an opportunity to thank our veterans. We started with Operation Thank a Vet in 2015. Since then, we've recruited, when I say we, really Commissioner Sterling in her office, has recruited over 300 different volunteers who have knocked on over 3,150 doors in the city of Boston. We've reached 1,150 veterans personally, thanking them for their service. We listened. We listen to their stories, we hear what their needs are, and we work hard to make sure we meet those needs every single day. We remain committed to supporting our veterans and our military men and women in every which way we can. And again, I just want to say thank you to all the veterans in this room. I want to thank you for your years of service. I want to thank you for telling your stories. And I want to thank you for allowing us to be part of this special veterans community in Boston. And before I end, I'd like to ask all the veterans to please stand and be acknowledged. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Mayor Walsh. At this time, I'd definitely like to give some space for Commissioner Finn to acknowledge the great work that Juan Sanchez is doing as well. And take it away. A Marine Corps veteran himself, so thank you for your service.
Thank you, Giselle. I'd certainly like to thank Major Hill, Commander Netta, 54th Regiment, myself. As the mayor stated, we have Juan Sanchez who's on board now as a Chief Diversity Officer of the Boston Fire Department. He's done remarkable things over the last year and a half. We have a PAGE program. PAGE program works with our returning veterans. When Juan and I sat down to discuss what we needed to do to keep compliance, if you will, under the laws of Massachusetts, we needed to focus on veterans returning from military service. And the PAGE program is that way to stay connected. And also working on programs around young men and women who are enlisting in the military currently, that we follow them throughout their enlistment, that we can actually track them, follow them, give them support, encouragement, and have them be aware of the opportunities that lie ahead when they return home from their military service. To me, I think that's the greatest thing we can do for our returning veterans, that we at least make them aware of the opportunities that are available. This past class, we just swore in a class this past Wednesday, and it's actually 27% minority, which is a big jump for us. And and I'm very proud of that number, and certainly we need to do more. And we are working to do more on that topic. We were able to use some of the laws and statutes that make it available so we could do some language preference hiring around Hispanic and also Haitian Creole, and we're going to be looking to expand that in the next class so that we raise that number higher than the 27% that is in this current class. And we're working hard to do that. And we actually understand the need. Certainly, I spent 34 years serving the city of Boston, the fire department, and know that we need to be reflective of the community we're serving. And we're going to be working hard going forward to do that. This past summer, we had a program. First time we did it was a class, we call it Teen Academy. And we partnered with, in collaboration with ABCD. We had 25 young men and women in the minority neighborhoods come and actually spent 6 weeks with us to learn about the Boston Fire Department, the opportunities that are available. We're hoping this year to increase that to 50, so that we're going to keep on increasing the size of that and maybe run 2. So it's a way for us to make sure we're getting the message out that we are inclusive and that the fire department is certainly leaving our past in the past. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you for inviting me today, and thank you to all you veterans. And in the room, I would say the majority of the veterans in this room are probably Vietnam veterans who are here, and I would like to thank you for your service, especially, if you will, you were the forgotten veterans that came back and didn't have the recognition and didn't have the parades and didn't have that welcome home. So I'd just like to say thank you to all our Vietnam veterans in the room today, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Finn. And next up, we have an update from our Boston Police Department with Chief Gross and a special message for our veterans.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor to be here today. An honor in celebration of Black History Month. That's intertwined with me, February 1st, 1964. So beginning of the month, that's my birthday. Commander, thank you, and your staff for hosting us. Major Hill, my brother, thank you. You know, veterans of foreign war helped raise me. I'm from Hillsborough, Maryland. I'm a country boy that got here in 1975. But on that farm, I had veterans of foreign war, Vietnam vets, that instilled in me honor, pride, and respect. That's why it's an honor to be here today. When I arrived in Boston in 1975, I was lucky in my apartment building on Esmond Street, 3 families of Vietnam vets. My football coach is a Vietnam vet. I've never seen my father in my life, but the men of the community, starting with the Vietnam vets, helped raise me. So let's give them a hand. Speaking of Esmond Street, there's Mr. Sylvester. I couldn't be bad because he would kick my butt, so thank you, sir. Mr. Calendar. These guys were chasing me before I got on the department, so thank you. And before I go further, all of the seniors in this room, the veterans, thank you for paving the way so I could be here in this capacity. Because of you and what you went through and how you fought, it allowed for Mayor Walsh and Commissioner Evans to appoint me as the first African-American chief of police. So thank you. Let's give the seniors a hand. And that is sincerely for you. Commissioner Sterling, thank you for taking care of the veterans, and thank you for your services as well. That's a big part of me. Commissioner Finn, thank you, sir, for serving our great nation as well. On to BPD. BPD is the first police department in the nation. And since then, we have a lot of work to do. And we have been doing a lot of work. We believe in the Boston Police Department that our police department should reflect every neighborhood in this city. So there should be representation of every ethnicity and every culture on the Boston Police Department. That's true strength and unity. That's how you gain understanding and respect. And that's how you strengthen empathy, sympathy, care, and respect by learning from other cultures. Last year when I spoke here, we had just hired a young man, Mr. Michael Gaskins. Come on up. I want everyone to see you. All right? This young man is in charge of our diversity recruiting and also an exam administrator as well. That's important. How do we give the exams? How do we set that up? How are we looking to recruit? This man right here does that. I'm telling you right now, we realize with all this going on in the city, myself and Commissioner Evans, is that we listen to you and how you want to be served and whom you want to be served by. You want fair representation, and you want your police department and your fire department to reflect that, and your city hall administration to reflect that. And I'm telling you right now, under Mayor Walsh, we are committed to that task and to that duty. For BPD, we're about to graduate a class in April, and trust me, they're going to be ready to hit the streets with the same mindset in mind that I mentioned, I just alluded to, care, respect. As well, we have a teen police academy. We have an Explorers program, and we have a Boston Police Cadet program. And this is about diversity. This is about inclusion. And this isn't about exclusion. So again, Mr. Michael Gaskins, I'm going to break the mold a little, Commissioner, because he didn't have time to talk last year. I'm just so proud of him. Come on and talk about a little bit about what we're doing. Let's give him a hand. Folks, that's called employee development. You just put your guys on the spot. It's great.
I'm on the spot, but I do have my notes.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, sir.
That's why we hired him.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Sterling, Commissioner Finn, Chief. I'm a son of a Air Force veteran, Vietnam vet, my father and my mother, so it's an honor to be here. And we are excited. 1 year on the job now, from February 13th. I'm a civilian. When the mayor speaks about my position, and even when the chief speaks to my position, they keep referring to me as Chief Diversity Officer. I'm the Diversity Recruitment Officer, but I am willing to accept any promotion that you give me. And we are committed to the recruitment to be a reflection of the communities that we serve. When I came in on the first day and I spoke with Chief Gross and the commissioner, we asked that we change the mission statement for the organization as well. And so if you'll go to boston.gov/police, you'll see our new mission statement that's posted there that really states that we have a desire to be a reflection of the communities that we serve. We brought on 130 for our current recruit class that started on September 11th, 2017, about 22% African American, about 16% Latino, and about 3-4% Asian. We want to increase that number as well. And we had about 21% women in that particular class. So we're excited that they'll be hitting the streets soon in April. We actually had a young man here, Raymond Soto. I didn't recognize him. He was, his head was shaved and everything. But I remember, if you tell me the first name of the person, I can tell you the last name. So we're excited to have about 97 now that are remaining in the academy. Again, we have a cadet program. The mayor just recently extended the application deadline for the cadets program for this particular application series to March 16th, 2018. I have some flyers on hand as well. Currently, our population for cadets, we have about 33 remaining cadets. Once they get through their 2 years of service, the commissioner can include them in an academy class. So I can't say exactly when the academy class will happen just yet, but it will happen. And we have about 80% people of color in that particular recruit pool. Much like the Commissioner Finn mentioned, we were given a language certification for the past class. We'll use that same template and look forward to recruiting. But we're also going to be looking at veterans going to different bases, major bases, and have a presence there as well. I'm available via phone. We're going to be doing Google Hangs and streaming information sessions for those that are stationed abroad or nationally. I'm looking forward to connecting with and helping veterans to come back, to navigate the waters of, in our case, civil service, and to make sure that they're making the right decisions. 3 to 5 year career plans for getting out, separating, and transitioning right into an opportunity. So thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to share, and we look forward to working with Commissioner Sterling. Thank you.
That's why we call him the Chief. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. So before we get into our Veterans Town Hall, we do have one special presentation to give. And I'd like to ask Commander Netter and Mayor Walsh to please join me as we present this award. If I could please have, I'm going to give you that. Donald Callender, if you would please join us. So Donald is a Korean War veteran of the United States Air Force and served in 1948 to 53. And he's still serving in the community in great capacity here at the Carter Post as well as the VFW. So we'd like to present you the Certificate of Recognition, and I'll read it out loud. To certify that you have been recognized for your years as a Tuskegee Airman and being the first African American to achieve high rank in the Massachusetts States Trooper on this 17th day of February 2018 at the WME Carter American Legion Post. We present to you this award. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So when we thought about how to honor our veterans for this event, we wanted to create a space where their experiences were listened to and appreciated without judgment. So our first town hall we actually held at Veterans Day at Faneuil Hall, and we heard from our recently returned veterans talking about their stories of multiple deployments and how that affected their families. We even heard from a 103-year-old World War II veteran nurse who shared her experience of trying to heal and save the lives of the service members and soldiers in front of her. And it was a great experience for both the veterans and the non-veterans to share that history among us. So we're offering that space again. And we have some veterans that are actually really closely affiliated with the Carter Post within this mix of speakers today. And we've brought back our good friend, Major Eric Hill, to facilitate today's Veterans Town Hall. And he's the perfect person to do it because he is a Boston native, U.S. Army Reserves officer with multiple awards for his work on the front lines in both Iraq and Afghanistan, still currently in D.C., but with deep roots in Boston, as you heard the mayor allude to earlier. So we are grateful that you took the time to share with us and your talents to share with us. So please help me in welcoming Major Hill.
Good afternoon, Mayor, elected officials, Carter Post, veterans, family, and friends. My name's Eric Hill. I'll be acting as your MC for today's Veterans Hall. Let me start by dispelling any misconceptions. This is an Army uniform, not a Marine uniform. And I have to dispel that because a few people came up to me and asked me, am I a Marine? And I said, no, I'm in the Army. Hey, thanks again for having me, Mayor. Appreciate it. The Mayor told you a little bit about our history. Actually, I was in neighborhood services. He was a state representative. Mayor, you haven't aged a bit. I don't know what you're doing, but I need your secret. During that time, he said we didn't quite figure it out, but we did. We didn't quite, but we learned on the job. We trained each other, so I appreciate that. What he didn't tell you was that when I deployed in 2003, I was preparing for deployment to invade Iraq. Didn't know what I was going to face. You know, we heard stories of weapons of mass destruction and this and that, so we were going into a battle that we didn't know quite what was going to happen. But before I deployed, our mayor here called me up and said, you know, anything you need, just reach out and let me know. So I appreciate that. That made me feel really, really good going out the door, and it comforted me. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.